Yate shike do shidene, shay Dearlynn crankinshia, not down lagay nash ejitobahan ishlingo, it's ani bashishin, satnezatni deshiche, do tatini deshanella. Shema do shaje a Caroline do delver crankoya, Shema sene a May clahoya, Chanella hasin do Chanella hasa a Jane do James crankoya. Hello everyone, my name is Dearlynn Crank. I come from Cal Springs, Arizona, and I am of the White Zuni Edgewater clan, born for Folded Arms clan. My paternal grandfather is of the Red Running Into Water clan, and my maternal grandfather is of the Tangle People clan. My mom and dad are Caroline and Delbert Crank. My grandma is May Claw, and my paternal grandparents are Jane and James Crank. I attend school here at the University of Arizona in Tucson as a freshman. I live on the Navajo Reservation in Cal Springs, Arizona, which is located between two major towns known across the nation. It's Tuba City, Arizona and Kayenta, Arizona. It's right in the middle. Where I live is a pretty open place. I see pastures of green grass and mountains, everything you wouldn't see in a city, along with countless livestock such as horses, sheep, cows, anything along the lines of that. There are majority Navajos that live there, and we live in an area where we are surrounded by our close relatives, such as my other grandmas and my grandpas. So that's where I'm originally from. Because we have so many livestock such as horses, sheep, goats, dogs, cats, we have to attend to them as we would attend to ourselves. No matter what the weather condition is at home, if it's winter, if there's a snow blizzard outside, we have no choice but to cover up as possible to keep ourselves warm and attend to our animals, such as cleaning the water troughs, feeding the frozen ice with sticks, anything that can get our family, our livestock comfortable. And because I said family, we do treat our livestock as family. Along the other lines of that, I do have a younger brother, which I have to attend to as well. I have to cook and make sure he does his homework every day after school. I have to help my grandma around the house as much as I can, such as cleaning the dishes, cooking food, keeping the house clean, and anything along the lines of that. My grandma, May Claw, has been with me since the day I was born. She was even in the labor room when I started crying and whatnot. And from my mom telling me that I knew my grandma would be a major person in my life that I would look up to, that I would go to for comfort, and anything along the lines of that. While growing up, my grandma always encouraged me to be the better person than I was yesterday. So I would try to perfect myself in any way I can, which goes along the lines of academics, just my social life, my personal life, my professional life, anything along those lines. Taking that, I have to carry on the traditions and the cultures that my grandmother taught me, such as my native language, and our prayers, our ceremonies that are so sacred to us. And I don't know, my grandma is a major influence upon me because she's a person that I would go to for anything. She's a person that I would go to tell her about my typical day or about the bad in my life, and she would just make it better. She makes me see the beauty within the ugly. She makes me want to have that positive mindset no matter what. Even though that I'm hundreds of miles away from my grandma, and she's 9 hours away, and I don't get to see her on a regular basis when I come back from my classes and tell her about my day, I know she's always there with me spiritually and mentally, because whatever she taught me, she reminds me every day to pray and to keep those teachings on. And what I'm wearing today right here is a ring that my grandmother passed on to me from my great-great-grandmothers. And I always wear that so I know that she's there with me, so I feel safe and secure and that I'm comforted no matter what. And I like to thank my grandma for being such an impact upon me to be the person I am today. I know I'm successful in many ways, and that's because of her. My younger brother's name's Dearlynn, and I call him Son Boy. The first time that I had came to the conclusion that I had to be the perfect role model for my younger brother was when he was first born, obviously. My mother laid him into my arms, and I was so excited and scared because I didn't want to drop him, and he was so small and everything. But that was a heartfelt moment, and even though I was only 5, I remember it clearly. That's when I knew that I had to be the one to encourage my brother and support him through whatever he needed to learn. And that's when I realized that I am an older sister. From that, my little brother encouraged me to become more of a leader towards him. He encouraged me to do my best because that's what my little brother needed. He needed someone to look up to him. He needed someone to look up to, and I try to be that person. I try my best to be a leader within my community, my family, with school and everything. And my brother is he's my main encouragement in whatever I do. Whatever I try to succeed in and accomplish, he's the reason I do it, because I want to be that better person for him. There were plenty, especially being Native American and coming into a college that is a white society. You don't normally see another brown person as you would see on the Navajo Reservation, and that's a really uncomfortable feeling. I would relate to myself as a black sheep, because within a white herd and being the only black sheep, of course, you're outcasted from the rest of the herd. And I lost my beliefs and traditions at the beginning of my school year because of that. I didn't want to show people who I really was or where I came from because I felt ashamed. And I never told anyone about that because I didn't want them to be disappointed in me because of what my grandma taught me. So I got out of my comfort zone because I was told that a comfort zone is a beautiful place, but nothing ever grows there. So taking that saying, I went out of my way to find other activities that I can be involved in, and I went to NASA, which is the Native American Student Affairs, and it helps Native Americans with resources around the school that is open to them, such as different scholarships, clubs, study abroad, and so forth. Along with that, I met other Native Americans, and what do you know? They felt the same way as I did. And I could relate to them in so many ways, and I finally had the nerve to tell my grandma about how ashamed I was to be who I really am. And I don't know why I didn't go to her in the first place, because she made me see that I'm a unique person and that I should always carry my traditions and cultures wherever I go and show who I really am, because I don't want to be the same. I want to be a leader, and being a leader, you need to take that initiative and get out of your comfort zone and show who you really are. That is one of the obstacles that I face, but one of the most hardest obstacles being in college was being away from my family. When tragic events would happen in my family, I would always be home, but being 9 hours away, I couldn't just go up to my grandma and comfort her through anything that went on. Because just recently, my other grandma Lee, I would call her, she got into a vehicle accident where her and her husband were driving back home from about 200 miles away from home, and this was like early in the morning around 3, so there was hardly anyone on the road. I guess my grandma Lee's husband fell asleep, and they ran off the road and totaled the car. And not only that, but the car did catch on fire. And hearing this story, I couldn't imagine what really happened because it really breaks my heart. But my grandma Lee told me that her husband saved her. And weeks after that, my grandma Lee lost her husband. And that was one of the hardest things that I had to face, is that I can't always be there when tragic events like this happen in my family. I could be there spiritually and mentally, but not physically. I couldn't comfort my grandmas knowing that she was hurt, not only physically, but her heart was broken. You know, I just couldn't be around my family, and that was one of the most hardest things that I ever had to do. But that just makes me a stronger person, and to go forth with a stronger mind. And I know my grandmas are proud of me in anything that I do, so I just have to be the strong person that they taught me to be. I live in a Native American wing that's within this dorm. So I'm surrounded by other Native Americans from right across the hall or down the hall. And I was really scared to go forth to introduce myself because they weren't the Native Americans that grew up on the Navajo Reservation as me. They grew up in cities not too far from here, such as Phoenix or other cities anywhere else. But I saw that they craved to learn their culture, their language, and their traditions. And of all the obstacles that I faced, I had to have somebody there to comfort me physically because my grandma wasn't here, my mom wasn't here. So I took that initiative to go forth and introduce myself. And it was very comforting to know that there are people here that are willing to help you, that are willing to comfort you. Not only that, my sisters from the Apple Pi Omega, they are always there for support, for motivation and encouragement, and I thank them for that. When I first came here for my orientation, I was confronted by a man who is in the geography building, and he was advertising the major of geography, and it sounded really fun at first, but after taking geography classes, I became tedious with it. I thought there would be a change or an excitement of some sort that would spark me as sociology and special education did, but I didn't find that. I wouldn't say it was a mistake, but it was a wrong turn to choose to not double major in sociology and special education. So when I have the chance, I know I will change my major back to what I originally planned, because I have that crave to help people, and not only people in general, but my Native people. They need someone who will always. They need someone that they could count on. They need someone that could make a change within the community, even if it's with counseling or putting on these events like healthy events such as running or Zumba, anything along the lines of that, because Native Americans need to do something that won't lead them to alcoholism or drugs or drop out of school. They need some excitement within the reservation. They need something to look forward to. And being a social worker, I know I can succeed in that goal. But along the lines of special education, there's not many teachers out there who are capable of teaching special education. So anything that my Navajo Nation lacks, I want to help better it. So by that, being a social worker and a special education teacher, I know I will at least make a little perfection within my nation. Being Navajo means many things to me, but most importantly, I see it as beauty, because I am different, and coming to college and coming with my grandmother's teachings, that being different isn't something to be ashamed of. It's something to be proud of. It's something to always remember and pass on to the future generation. And being different taught me so many things about myself, that I am beautiful in many ways, that even being different, there will be remarks being different, there are remarks where you feel very uncomfortable and it makes you not want to be different anymore. But you have to come to the conclusion that being different is a good thing. And especially being Native American, you're looked upon as a leader in your nation. And that's what I want to be, a leader within my nation. Not even in my nation, but the state, the Tucson community, my university, and the world. I want to be that person who makes a difference, you know. It doesn't matter where, but I just want to be that person who makes a difference. And being a Native American, I know I can do it. If I had the chance to talk to one of the American Indian Foundation donors, I would like them to know who I am, where I came from, anything about my culture or my teachings, because that makes me who I am. And that makes me very unique from other people, because I'm Native American, and that's the beauty of it. I think they would like to know just as much as I do. To say thank you to one of the donors of the American Indian Scholarship Foundation, I would just like to say "Ayaha," and that is basically saying thank you in my native language with many blessings that come with it. I know "Ayaha" is just a short phrase, but it is very rewarding to people who hear it, because not everyone hears it, and it's a very special thing within our Native American culture. So, "Ayaha."